I've always been told, like, don't die in the chair. That's a phrase that a group of friends of mine always say. But you walked into these aid stations and, like, the later ones, it's like carnage. These people look like they've been through hell. And I just walk in and I look around, I fill up my bottles, and I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like, don't spend time in here. It's a trap. Like, it looks nice and cozy. It looks like a place to warm up, but like, you just need to keep moving.
I truly believe that this podcast will empower all runners of all abilities, especially those doing trail and ultramarathoners, to be more prepared and run fearlessly. Let's make a deal, and I'll make it really simple. If you get any value from this podcast, any value at all, subscribe. That's it. In return, I promise to do my absolute best in creating some amazing content and interviewing amazing people so that you have an amazing experience listening to this podcast. My training and recovery are so important to me, and I know it's pretty important for you as well. As someone who manages high-impact physical demands every day, I'm always looking for ways to recover and get stronger. The B-Body by Beamer is a pulsed electromagnetic field device. Basically, you place the mat in a sitting or lying position and just relax. It sends low-frequency magnetic pulses through your body to stimulate cell activity. This helps improve local blood circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients where they are needed the most. Send me an email or message me on my socials, and I'll put you in contact with a Beamer rep that can help you out. I've also linked the company's website in the show notes. Now let's get started. Hey, real quick, just wanted to let you know that I'm doing a race next month, or depending on when you're listening to this episode. On June 13th of 2026, I am doing the Snow Peaks 50 here in Utah. It's in Provo, Utah, so it's about 45 minutes south of Salt Lake City. It is 50 miles. It's on June 13th. It has more than 10,000 feet of elevation gain. There are 8 aid stations, and there are 3 drop bags. So at aid stations 3, 7, and 9, there are drop bags, which I think is just amazing. So if you're going to be here, awesome. Let's meet. Let's do a podcast. I'd love to connect with you if you can make it. And I think it's going to be a really great prep run for the CCC and UTMB. And it's not an easy race. So please come join me. So just so everybody knows, Casey and I got together about a week and a half ago, and it was wonderful. Had a great time talking to Casey, and I had forgotten to start record, and I didn't know there was an auto record setting. So Casey is just so you guys know, you're gonna love Casey. You're just gonna fall in love with Casey today. During this episode, but even more so, just know that she's back for a second time doing this podcast interview, and I am personally so grateful, and you guys will be very grateful too. So reach out to Casey, show her some love, follow her on Instagram. I will tag you. I'll even do a collaboration that way. If you wanted to share the post, you can. But yeah, go find Casey, follow her. You're going to learn more about her. We're not going to.
We'll get into all that.
Yes, we're going to get into all of that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Like we did before, and this is kind of you were my second. Now you're technically my third, but one of the traditions now is I use Google Gemini as my AI. And I ask, okay, create a really great introduction for these podcasts.
I remember this.
Yes. And they've been so good. And the reactions have been good. Jean, he was like, oh, I don't know if I agree with all that, but he was laughing. And then Robin was like like after I read it, she was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." So, anyways, it's been really cool. I've
You
liked it.
can tell who the pro athletes are.
Yes, yes, exactly. Um, okay, so with that being said, here is the Casey Cline um, introduction by Google Gemini, and not sponsored by Google or Gemini. Joining us today is the athlete who proves that professional precision and mountain grit are a powerful combination. By day, she is a landscape architect and running coach based in North Carolina. But on the trails, she is a high volume ultra marathoner who has conquered some of the most iconic courses in the sport. From chasing three sub-hour marathons, from chasing three sub oh my gosh, from
Sub three
chasing
hour.
sub 3 hour marathons to tackling the brutal vertical gain of the Speed Goat 50K and finishing the legendary CCC 100K in the Alps, she has mastered the art of the long game. Please welcome the runner who went from high school sprinter to 100-mile finisher, Casey Cline. So yeah, reactions and any addendums to that introduction.
No, it's pretty spot on, but I will say I was on the trail yesterday and I did not feel like a powerhouse by any. It was just like the first couple weeks of me getting back and going from marathon back to trail. Oh, I think I hit North Carolina, it's hard to hit vert. And so I hit 2,000 feet yesterday, and my coach was like, I thought we were kind of chilling. And I said, well, I thought I was chilling. And I picked this trail that I didn't think I had a lot of vert. And then I was like, oh, so we're going up now, and then we're going down. And so, yeah, I just say the running is such a humbling sport, but yes.
Yes. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Well said. I went on a run yesterday to kind of test out kind of the way that I've been feeling and had a similar experience where there was a lot more vert. I wished I had brought my poles. Like one of my biggest regrets of there was several regrets of the run, but also some great awesome things, but I regret not having brought my poles. So, anyways, yeah. Super excited. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Um, okay, so real quick, how tell us about nope, we'll get there. Sorry. We're coming back. Quick fire round. How old are you? So everybody knows.
38.
38. Awesome. And favorite race of all time? Or
So
one of your top favorite. A road and trail. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I feel like road running and trail running are totally different sports.
Yep.
So the Boston Marathon is always going to be probably my favorite marathon, but I do have like a certain races that I think every runner has where it's just like a pivotal moment in their career.
Yeah.
Like, I ran the first time I BQ'd was at San Francisco, which is I wasn't even like expecting to BQ that day. And races like that will always have like a special kind of place where you're just like, that was a magical day.
Yeah.
And then you're about to run it. The CCC is like,
Oh.
I just I can't wait to go back. Like I'm running grindstone 100K to get more stones. And then I ran speed goat last year to get more stones. So I'm gonna try to go back in the lottery for
Mm.
2027.
So you're doing Speed Goat this year or next year?
No, I did last year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that you did it last year, but then I was like, oh, you're coming back because I'm thinking about doing Speed
I
Goat
think you should. Yeah, it's a
next month
great.
or July.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great race and a good lead up to CCC. I feel like because you've got some elevation. Actually, you have more. You're at higher altitude than at Speed Goat than you are at CCC. So, but it gives you like a good taste of, elevation, climbing, all of that, just over a 50K. It's a
Yeah,
very humbling race.
it almost feels like comparing the elevation profile and the climbs. Like obviously, it's hard to go uh, apple to apples if that's the right saying, but it seems like it's a half CCC here
It
in the
really is.
in the
Yeah.
US.
It's a great training ground. And there were when I was doing Speed goat, there were a bunch of people, like I try to meet people when I'm out on the trail, and there were other people that were either doing CCC or the full UTMB out there training. So
Yeah,
it was really cool.
that's awesome. I love that. Um, oh, real quick, I'm curious. I did Boston years ago, 2009. I'm wondering what your favorite part of Boston was. What did you love? What was your one of your
The
favorite parts?
crowd.
Yeah,
Just the crowd, like getting energy from the crowd. Like if you run through the streets and you're like
yeah,
pumping your arms up, they go nuts. And it's just like so electric to get that feedback on the course when you're running a marathon. Like you're not a pro athlete, but for a hot second, you feel like a pro athlete. And
yes.
so, like, getting that energy back from the
Oh,
crowd is like just
yes.
electric. And you only
Oh,
have that feeling, I feel like, in Boston because it's just so many people and it's so loud. But the course in general is just like how hard it is makes it one of my favorite courses because it's nothing like out of all races, out of all marathons, you can't cheat Boston. Boston finds some way to check you right where you are, whether it's like hills you didn't expect would be there or just like being able to stay in control, being able to like manage the long game of like coming back after heartbreak and racing that last 5K or last hard 10K really, but that's like a net downhill. So if you can get to the top of heartbreak and still have legs, you can run a really good Boston.
yeah, yeah.
So it's just a cool game of strategy that I just love playing.
Oh, that's awesome. Watching this year's Boston and thinking about my race, I thought that the Scream Tunnel was just like electrifying, like it was crazy. And then watching Clayton Young, like I don't like he was the only pro that like really went through
Went out and
Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Yeah, it was so amazing. And I don't blame him because it is just electric. I mean, going through there. Anyways, I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Um, okay, outside of running, what are some of your favorite things to do?
So outside of running, well, it's hard to say outside of running because I also coach running. So outside of running, I'm also coaching running.
Yeah.
And I love going to races. I love being a part of a crew or coaching at races and going and being out in the community. But I like to do CrossFit. That's kind of like another hobby of mine. I like to learn and study, so I'm always like reading something or digging into something to learn more about the body in general, like longevity and durability in sport is something that like fascinates me and like how you can be more efficient throughout life. And um, I think that's also something that, you know, I can translate into my coaching and then into my own performance career. So I'd say outside of running, I'm still kind of being like somewhat of a running nerd.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, if we had more time, I would love to like dive into what have you been listening and reading recently. And you mentioned foam rolling, and I have had in the past couple months some really like breakthroughs in my um, injury healing using foam rolling. Anyways, we will have to have another episode where you can share like a bunch of the stuff that you've been learning and stuff like that. But
Well, I
I
can
think it's
touch on
oh yeah, go for it.
one little thing real quick,
Yeah.
and it's something that if you want to listen to another podcast, we're going to talk
Yes.
about on.
Yes.
So my boyfriend and I have a podcast called "There Is No Finish Line," and one of the things that we're going to talk about is pain and how people disassociate with pain, but then also how you can understand pain and know that it's also like feedback in some sort of sense. And then also desensitizing yourself. So think about this, like if you've ever gotten dry needled or any kind of like body work done, for me, it's so satisfying to get that work done because I know that it's helping me run. And so my relationship with something that might feel painful in the moment is positive in the way that I've trained my brain to associate that pain. Whereas like the first time somebody else may go in there like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting dry needled. This is terrible." But like how you associate with pain, and this like translates to trails, it translates to so many other areas of life. is it's just kind of it's a fascinating subject. So
Yes.
that was like
Oh,
one of the things that I've been nerding out about lately too. So
I love it. I love that. And just to go along with that, I have been getting dry needled every week for the past like 2 months, and it's made a big difference. And foam rolling, but especially like trigger point therapy
mhm.
in general, like huge for me. Like I used to think that I was hurting myself, and like I was injured, but really it was just trigger points that were shown. Anyways, love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a
Thank you for sharing
there's
that.
a lot of times I will go into the gym and I will just assess my body. So I'll foam roll, I'll do like a little bit of mobility. I'm like seeing where my tight areas are, and then I'll spend time focusing on that because that's pretty much what the PT does. And
Yeah.
and like if you can go in there too and go into the PT with like an action strategy of, hey, this is what's talking to me this week. I did a little bit of foam rolling, but it's still feeling restricted. Can you get deeper on this with a needle or something like that? You can be proactive in that. So I know that's
Yeah.
a sidebar.
No, I love it. I love it. And something that, I mean, related, but just kind of a pertinent tangent, as I like to call them. Um, you're talking about the gym. And the gym and CrossFit. I recently got a membership at Vasa because I've been doing some more swimming. That's a different story, but because of my spine and my herniated discs, it's been amazing. But there's also there's two ski ergs in the at the gym, and I was doing some research on ski ergs with pole usage and the CCC and everything like that. I'm curious as someone who's done the CCC, who's used poles and advocates for poles during ultra marathons, and also somebody who does CrossFit and things like that. What is your opinion on the ski erg in general, and then also as it translates into pole usage for ultra marathons and especially the CCC?
Yeah, I program and skier work for my athletes most of the time. Um, and I think it's a great way to train capacity, especially if you're not used to using your upper body in that kind of manner. Because what a lot of people don't realize is how many more calories you actually burn by using poles as well. And so if you can get more efficient in using the skier as a training mechanism, I think it's a great tool. And the more tools you have, and if your upper body can handle that load. But you'll notice people who don't use poles a lot, they'll finish like runs with poles and they're moving their back, and they're
Yeah.
like finding muscles they didn't know that they had. And so it's better like in training to find some of that. And you can do like different workouts. Like something that I really like to do is I'll do box step ups and then I'll hop on the ski erg, or I'll do push ups and then I'll hop on the ski erg, and I do like 1 minute on, 1 minute off kind of thing. And that's just an easy way to just add in some capacity work.
Yeah, and honestly, like what I have found is with a lot of these things, foam rolling, ski erg, push-ups, some strength work, like even if you don't have a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of time to really like to fit some of that stuff in, but also like like 5 minutes of some strength and 5 minutes of the ski erg or something like that. Anyways, I think it makes even a little bit makes a big difference. So
Yeah, I call them
yeah,
exercise snacks.
yeah, I
So
love that.
if you have 10 minutes, or you can just, I was doing at one point, I think we did it for 100 days. We did 100 push-ups a day for 100 days. And
Wow.
granted, it became a chore. Um, but it was just like something that was just part of your day, whether you did anything at all, you were doing 100 push-ups. Something right now that I'm trying to integrate in my day that takes 3 minutes is I'm just trying to dead hang for three
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
I'll do like 1 minute dead hang, then I'll let go, walk around, or I might do one in the morning and one at night, like just trying to like decompress my spine a little bit. Especially because like, yeah, sitting all day and things like that, just helping spinal health.
Yes. Oh, actually, there's a few things that I have a list of things to help with herniated with that I'm doing to help with my herniated discs, and that's amazing. I love. I'm gonna add that in. Okay, you talked about a race that you did that you think is more challenging than the CCC.
Oh,
I want to hear about that again. Doesn't have to be very
so
long, but I really enjoyed hearing about it and your perspective.
yeah, UTMB Andorra. So UTMB Andorra it is a considered a 100 miler by UTMB, but it literally is like 107K. And we had some discrepancy. My watch said 64 miles. My boyfriend's watch said 74 miles. So, who actually, no, I think mine said like 68 and his said 74. But yeah, however many miles long this thing is, it was 24,000 feet of elevation gain. We hit six summits and you ran around the entire country of Andorra. And maybe it was the point in my training that, maybe I wasn't exactly ready for it yet, but it was one of those races that I finished. And gosh, I was so scared of getting like time cut off. And I was actually the last aid station I got to, they were like, "Oh, you're an hour ahead of the time cut off." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." Like
Wow.
I was like, I've got time to kill. But it was just like one of those races that was like the hardest thing I had ever done at the time. And I think I told you before, like when I towed the line at CCC, I was scared. Like I was like, "Oh, here we go again." And when I finished and crossed the line, I think it was like 20 hours at CCC. It was like such an accomplishment because I felt like I beat that race that really humbled me.
Mm,
Um, and I still think Andorra is, I mean, to be for UTMB to consider it a 100-mile category of,
yeah.
and it's only like 107 or 108K, like that kind of
It's
tells
saying
you
something. Yeah, it's
it
saying
was
something.
gnarly. There were edges where like it was like straight down. It was like almost like you have like a gravel road, except it's on the side of a mountain. And there's a path that's about maybe a foot wide, if that, that everybody's in a conga line. And it's either like you go really slow or you go down the side and the helicopter picks you up. And I was just like, this is not where I'm going to
Oh
end
my
my day.
gosh.
And that lasted for like probably at least a mile, I think. Where you're just like walking around the side of this mountain and like there were some people that were like tiptoeing it, but I was just like, I'm in a foreign country and I'm not trying to end up on that helicopter. And it was like I remember we had passed that section and there was like a big bouldery section after that. And we had passed that section and I heard a helicopter coming around. I was like, there.
Oh my gosh.
There was that day, I think we saw like, because you had to have airlift insurance for this race. And I know we saw at least like four helicopters throughout the day of just like swooping in
Oh my
to
gosh.
come and get people. So, I mean, it was no joke.
Oh my gosh. That's what how far is the drop from
It's straight down. It's like literally like looking off a cliff. I mean,
but
you're
like
the
from the top of the cliff to the drop, like how far was it?
probably like 20,000 feet.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we had just summited, and I know most of the summits were pretty close to like 24,000 feet. And, you were just kind of like only a couple feet down from that. Um, so yeah, it was wild.
Oh my
But
gosh.
so that race really stole my soul, but I felt like I regained a little bit of it after CCC.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do that race, of course. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about the CCC now. About your experience, and really just things that you think. And obviously, I'm just kind of information vomiting right now, but um, your experience with it, that you're so glad that you did and that you brought, and then things that you would do differently if you could go back. I remember several things from our first chat, and also there weren't you don't have a lot of regrets because you were very very well prepared. So, anyways, that being said, tell me about CCC.
Yeah, I will say Andorra, I think, really prepared me for that. But yeah, I came with all the required gear lists. So make sure that if they give you a cold list and a hot list, bring it all. It's better to have it than not. But the good thing is, like, if you forget something, there's plenty of vendors. Like, I actually didn't think my vest was big enough, and I wanted a dry sack with my vest because they were calling for rain. So I bought a brand new Solomon vest that was like a 15 liter, that was supposed to have like a dry sack in it. I still put all of my clothes in like Ziploc bags inside of the dry sack so that everything stayed dry because they were predicting rain on us. And so, yeah, but all of the gear that they prescribed other than the waterproof pants I put on. And I know for the 100 milers, they made them put on all of their cold gear. They started, so the UTMB, the CCC starts, I think, at like 8 or 9 o'clock, early on, is it Friday morning or Saturday? Saturday
Yeah.
morning?
Okay. Or
I can't remember
I think
if it was Friday
CCC
or
is
Saturday.
it's I think it's Friday. I think it's a Friday morning.
Okay. And then UTMB starts Friday night.
Well,
And
that's right.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so, my thing was I knew the weather throughout the day was going to be pretty good, but I knew at night there was a storm that was supposed to roll in. And so my mission for the CCC was to get to the 50K mark before the sunset and at least get halfway. And so that
Wow.
was my game plan. It was like just get to 50K and then, check in and then you'll go into the night. Um, Things that I love that I have, I did get a new headlamp while I was out there. I think I have, um, oh gosh, and right now I can't think of the name of it. The Phoenix is what I have. And so I got a new headlamp that's super bright. That was great. And then I also use the Kagala, which is like almost like a Mack truck coming down the trail because it's got little tiny lights and you can kind of wear it on your waist. For me, I think I wore it in my vest and I just had it on my vest and that just gave me so much light because like the biggest thing at night is if you have visibility, it helps you so much on the trails.
Yeah.
Um, there were
What was that called again? The thing that you wore on
the Kagala or
Kagala.
the
Okay.
Kagala. Yeah, it's a great, actually, is it behind? I don't think it's here. But it's like a big light. And it gives you so much visibility. And so it's a great thing to have. And so yeah, those were some tools that I think, like, obviously your poles are 100%, I think, necessary. Um, and having good lights, making sure you're taking all the required gear. I would say if you have gels or certain things that you like, I would bring them because you are in a different country and they will not have them. They will not have, especially if you're used to the US kind of aid station food, it's going to be different. So go ahead and prepare for some of that. So if you're super picky in those kind of senses, it's better just to kind of bring your own. They did have like a cola there. They did have like a broth and lots of bread. Some of the best things I've had at European races are like bread with olive oil on it and
Oh,
salt. And it's just like an absolute, especially if you're dealing with altitude sickness at any point, getting
yeah.
carbs in is a huge way to kind of mitigate that. Um, Trying to think of what else I could.
Oh,
Uh,
gloves. We talked about gloves last
yeah,
time.
the
You got to tell
waterproof
me about the
gloves.
gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, the waterproof gloves is one of those gear items that I was like, wait, what? And it was actually a really great tool because like I have poor circulation in my fingers. And so I wore the waterproof gloves and then I wore um like a wool glove over them. And then I was still able to like clip into my poles and like feel really steady and good. But those waterproof gloves, I think you can get them mostly for they have them at like REI or different sports stores, and they normally have them for like kayaking or paddleboarding or surfing or that kind of thing. It's like almost like wetsuit material, and so that was also a really good tool to have to keep your hands dry and warm. So yeah, it's that was another good thing to have. I'm trying to think of if there was anything else.
Oh, you talked about wearing like a puff type jacket, like a
Oh,
down jacket
yeah, the
underneath
down
your
jackets.
waterproof jacket.
Yeah, the great thing about a down jacket is it like can fold into like a little ball. So during the day, my down jacket was in the back of my pack. And I also um I really wore most of the stuff that I was going to wear at the beginning that, I didn't wear my down jacket. I didn't wear my waterproof pants. I just had like a long like or a tank top underneath and then a long sleeve over. The thing about the CCC is if you naturally get hot, you're climbing out of the gate. And yes, it gets cold, but if you heat up, like you don't really have a spot. You're in this big conga line going up. And like you were just it's you just got to buckle up cuz like you can't really get around people. Those first couple miles are just straight up and there's the trail is a single track trail and you're just all kind of at the mercy of the conga line. And so if you have a layer, say you want to take something off, it's not really feasible to like, hey, let me pull over here. You're like, oh, now I'm stuck behind this guy. Like, and so like, yeah, I would say start the race with like what you think you'll be good to immediately start climbing because you pretty much start climbing right off the bat. So that was like another thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I'm trying to remember. You talked about how it rained in the night, which is one of the reasons you were so glad that you brought the waterproof gloves. And then I mean, it got cold, and so having the down jacket underneath the waterproof jacket was like really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, I just have like a Solomon shell, like a rain shell, which is like a great thing to have, and then just put the down jacket and just thinking in layers, like what layers you can put on. So for me, my layers were a tank top, and then over the tank top, I had like I would say like a long sleeve shirt, something that's kind of thin, that's like almost like a base layer. And
Okay.
then my next layer would be the down jacket. And then if I needed something else, I also had the waterproof shell. And so the good thing was if you didn't need the down jacket, you could still use the waterproof shell with like the base layer shirt. And so just having like a little bit of options and flexibility in your gear just helps you adjust to different conditions that you may face. And for me, I think I said before, like my legs take care of themselves. So like me putting on pants, like I don't like feeling restricted. And I'd rather have my legs a little bit cold. Another thing, and I think what one of the things we talked about before is I was self-supported. I didn't have crew. I didn't
Yeah,
have
that's right. Yeah.
anybody. So like my boyfriend was doing the UTMB and I was doing the CCC and we just traveled. That's all who went. And so I did meet an Australian couple out there and I ended up doing a good many miles with a guy and it was great to have somebody who spoke English. For the longest time I was out there and I was just like, I have nobody to talk to because like I had like an entire conversation with a Spanish man and all we did was say see and no. And so like it was like really I was hard. But yeah, I think just having the right gear and then just kind of going into an open mind, I think that also helped me stay awake and be more alert because I knew nobody was coming to save me. And
Right.
so like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, hey, Casey, you're in this foreign country and like, you could sit here and wait for Phil to get here, but he's probably going to be like another day behind you.
Right.
Um and so like yeah, and I've always been told like don't die in the chair. That's a phrase that a group of friends of mine always say. But you walked into these aid stations and like the later ones, it's like carnage. These people look like they've been through hell. And I just walk in and I look around, I fill up my bottles and I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like,
Yeah.
don't spend time in here. It's a trap. Like, it looks nice and cozy. It looks like a place to warm up, but like, you just need to keep moving. Because the thing is, too, if you warm up in there and then you go back outside, it's like this hot and cold and your body like freaks out. And so it's better to just like, if you need to change gear, change real quick, do what you got to do and then get back out there as soon as possible because Like the more time, and you also got to think about it in like a time standpoint of like in all of these like ultra distance long races, the more time you spend out there, your energy is draining. And so like wouldn't you rather spend that energy out on the course instead of sitting in an aid station? So
Yeah.
I thought in
Yeah.
my head, it was like the faster I get to that finish line, the faster I get to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I knew I was like, I'm not gonna go sleep out in the rain outside. I'm not gonna sleep in this aid station. Like I need to just keep moving. And so like having those checkpoints and like really kind of checking in with myself and then just being out there by myself really made me have to stay awake and kind of a little bit of survival mode. But I think that was really good because it taught me that you can do a lot more than you think you can.
I love that. When after or during our last interview and afterwards, it reminded me of like the witch and the candy house and being like, oh, I've got candy. Come on in, kids. And then
Yeah,
and
that's
they
exactly
yeah,
what
it's
the
like,
aid stations
yeah,
are.
get comfortable in here, you know. Oh man. Okay, I really like that because I am going to be self-supported during that race, and so I really appreciate that. Just that perspective and that knowledge, that wisdom. So, yes, thank you.
I
That's
think
awesome.
something else like I am, and I'm scared of heights. Like just that's just unfortunately one of my issues, and that's probably why I run slower than I would love to downhill is because like if it's a really steep downhill, I'm like braking a lot when I know I could just like bomb it. But like the fear of falling is something that I need to just overcome at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means I just need to fall, but there were some sections that um, Phil went throughout during the day that I didn't see. And he was like, how did you do on that chain wall? Because apparently there's a section where there was like this chain against this wall and this ledge, and then it just drops off. And it was in the middle of the night for me when I was going through that section. I saw the chain on the wall. I saw like darkness to my right. And I just kept going. Like I played dumb.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't even think I grabbed onto the chain because I obviously had my poles in my hand. And so, and he was just like, "Oh my gosh, if you would have seen that." But like, I think that was another like lesson that I learned is like, sometimes it's okay to just play dumb. Like if there's
Yeah.
a portion of the race that you feel like is like tough or challenging or, you know, just play dumb. Like just be naive about it. And, I think there's times to be serious, but I think also having like that um kid like mystery and
Yeah.
just like just trying not to think about all the things that would go wrong can actually help a lot of things go right.
Yeah. Yeah. Going into it with obviously being very prepared, but at the same time like not overthinking it. And yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Um, the mandatory gear check, when I was doing my interview with Jean, he talked about how the mandatory gear check was not at the beginning of the race, but at like a certain point of the race, like far into the race, and they did a gear check there. What
So they did it for some people. Yeah. Did he do the full UTMB?
No, he did the
He did
CCC.
the CCC. So
Yeah.
it was later on in the race. It was after 50K. It was like one of the
Okay.
aid stations. They never gear checked me. But
Oh.
I just had everything. You could get pre-checked, but I was kind of like, if they're still gonna gear check you out there, I'm not just gonna go. Like they had that in Athletes Village, like before you even started, where you could kind of get pre-checked, but I don't think it really did anything. Because they're still gonna check you on the course. And like for the 100 miler, when it was snowing, they made them put on all of their gear.
All
Like
the
they
gear.
said you could
Yeah.
not, it was like a checkpoint. So sometimes one of the cool things is they did have medical aid stations, but they weren't like official aid stations. It was like kind of a medical checkpoint. And so, and that might have been where he got checked. And so, in those medical checkpoints for the 100 miler, when they went to a certain point where it was getting really snowy, they said, you cannot pass this point until you put on all of your required cold gear. And if people didn't have that required cold gear, they were getting pulled from the race.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was on the full UTMB, but I know I never got checked on the CCC, but I heard of people getting checked, and I would imagine it would be at one of those medical checkpoints.
Okay. So as for you and probably for several of many of the runners, it was more of like a TSA check where if they were like, oh, okay, let's like not kind of profiling you, but not really, right? But it's like, okay, let's check your gear and do that. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, or if you're like severely underdressed, like say you're about to go through the night and the temperatures are dropping and you're wearing a tank top and shorts, they're probably like, "Yo, put on some clothes." Something like that. But,
Yeah.
it's and I don't know if they were doing that for the elites or not, if they made the elites do that or but yeah, I know the weather was taking it out of a lot of people as well, like energy level. I
Yeah.
know even I think Courtney did the full UTMB, and I know weather was something that definitely impacted her energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I mean, it's crazy, but I appreciate that. Um,
Yeah.
to kind of finish this off, I want to hear about your finish. Like, how was it? What was it like? I mean, what did you finish in the night? Did you finish when it was dark?
I finished very early morning, so the sun
Okay.
hadn't rose yet. Like it was, I think it was like or I can't remember what time it was, if it was like 3 or 4 or 5. Like the sun hadn't come up yet. And so I, that last aid station that you go through is after a really steep climb, and then you're kind of going down. And then you almost hit like this road section, which I was like so excited about. But then I was also like, you can't get like, you got to remember that your legs have been through so much at that point that like, even though you feel good, you still need to like check in and check reality, because like one wrong move and you roll that ankle, or you step weird. And so like, it's still like, hold on, let's stay in control. Let's make sure we're covering our bases. Still need to take gels, still need to do all the things that you need to do. But really, the after that last aid station, I think we went through one technical section in the woods, and then we were out and we are on this road, and you could just feel the energy kind of going towards downtown. Now, granted, when I finished, it was quiet because everybody was asleep.
Okay.
Um,
That was one of my questions, or one of
yeah,
my
there were
thoughts.
some
Yeah.
people out that I'm sure were expecting other people to finish, but I did have a friend who works for Hoka, who her name is Katie, and she is from North Carolina, and she was there for work, and she woke up to see me finish, which
Oh my
was, uh,
gosh.
can you imagine like seeing somebody like as you're entering in
Oh,
Chamonix? So
yes.
she took video of me finishing and like came and met me there. And then the Australian guy that I had met, he waited for me at the finish too. And so
Oh,
it was cool to like
that's so
have like
cool.
people that I had either known or met there, because being there solo, I wouldn't have really had anybody. But yeah, that was still made it like really special. And then just like seeing and feeling the finish line, it's just no better feeling. And no matter what time it is, like you're like, I freaking did it. Like that was like the best thing. And then I think they had, even when we finished, they still had like a little aid station set up at the finish line where they
Oh,
had,
good.
they had hot dogs um and like sodas and stuff like that. And I can't remember if I ate something or if I didn't. Um but yeah, it was nice to still have like that aid station. But the tricky thing is they don't give you a medal. So do not finish this race expecting a medal. You get a vest, a like yeah, just a vest that says UTMB finisher, or actually CCC finisher
Wait,
on it.
what kind of vest? Like a hydration vest?
No, just like a wear everyday like fleece vest.
Oh, oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
And so
yeah.
after the race, you'll see, or like leading up, so if you get there early, you may see people walking around in their vests. It's kind of like your Boston jacket,
Yeah.
except the only way you can get the vest is by finishing the race.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, but I still wanted a medal. Like I like my medals. So I was like, do I go and make my own medal?
You got to make your
So
own. You got to
that's
make your own.
probably my only critique of the races. One, they clean out all of your stones. I think we talked about this last time. Like when you sign up for this race, however many stones, if you have 100 stones or you have 5 stones, they're all gone. You go back to zero. And then the other thing is like when you cross the finish line, you get to go get a vest and not a medal, which I
No,
love. I
no
do like my
special
vest.
treatment. No special treatment from
Yeah. No,
UTMB.
I mean the vest is a major flex. Like it's cool if you know what it is. Um, but I like my little trophy medals that I
Yeah.
can collect, I guess.
Oh,
But
so
yeah,
I saw on Reddit recently, I saw this guy, I think he's in Asia or something, but he designed this type of metal that is 3D printed, and it's an elevation, it's like a 3D elevation profile on a metal of the course, and I was like, "Oh, I love that.
that's so
I think it's
cool.
so cool." Anyways,
Yeah,
made me think of
that's
that.
so cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I think there's so many things that they could, especially like for the full UTMB, like the whole loop. Um, but yeah, I like the CCC, and then you actually kind of make a C with the course. So that's I don't know. I think for me, I'm really torn on whether I would go back and do the full UTMB or if I would go and do CCC again. Because I really enjoyed CCC. Like it was like yes, I went into the night, but I felt like I'd like stayed in a positive state, like a mental state, like my mindset was really good the entire race. And so I really would hope that that would be the case if I did the full 108-mile
Yeah.
loop.
It's almost kind of like, and I talked to Jean about this as well, but the 100K is almost kind of like the half marathon of the marathon. It's kind of a sweet spot of an ultra marathon, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't like it doesn't take your soul, but you're still able, but it's still obviously so challenging. But anyways, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you, Casey, so much. Obviously, thank you for coming back on and redoing this, and thank you for all of these tips and insights. I just feel like you have so much to offer when it comes to especially as someone who isn't like interviewing Jean, interviewing Robin, amazing, like wonderful. You as kind of a more of an average back of the pack of this specific race, it just provides so much additional insight and education on the race, and so I appreciate that so much. That's probably where I will be, you know. So this is
Yeah.
like you're my ideal
I just
interviewee.
keep it real. How many hours did it take them to finish?
I can't remember. Well, so Jean, he's one of like Slovenia's top ultramarathon. Like he won. Oh, what's the race? The Julian Alps. He won that race. He has DNF'd the CCC twice, and
Yeah, you told me that.
he's gonna do it
If he
again
slowed
this
down,
year.
he could still finish. Like,
He
that's my
talked
thing.
he talked and maybe we talked about this too. I did talk about it with Robin as well, but how the start is just fast, and then so you're like lots of energy expenditure right up front, and then
Mhm.
you get into the single track. And Jean was saying that when he started out really fast, and then and then and that was bad. But then like I can't remember if it's the first or the second year, but he started out more conservative, but then he got trapped behind a bunch of people in the Congo line, and ended up trying to pass a bunch of people by going. So it
You
ended up
waste
being
too
like
much
a
energy.
yeah. He said it ended up being kind of like a fartlek speed workout that you should never do on a ultra marathon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, I was kind of bummed that I did feel like there were parts of that climb that I could have gone faster on, but I was also just like, just, just be here, be where
Yeah.
your feet are. Like, it's okay. Like, we all have to get to the same place. And so, yes, I would have loved to, and maybe that's is why it's such a dash at the beginning, because everybody's trying to get into a good position. But yeah, I will say when people are trying to pass you on these like narrow edges of the single track trail, it's just kind of like you look at them and then you look to where they actually get to, and they really don't get that much further ahead of you. So, like in reality, it's just like, all right, yeah, it's better just to kind of just let it be for that and like conserve your energy. And then when the course opens up, like there's some good runnable sections of CCC. At
Yeah.
least I thought there was. And so when you get to those sections, like use your legs, like so yeah.
That's when you should be, the energy expenditure should be a little bit later in the race when you've
Hmm.
got those
And those
runnable
climbs are
portions.
exhausting. I
Yeah.
mean, those climbs are, I can't remember. I think we went, was it, I think that first like 5 miles was like 2,500 feet. I think that was like that first climb. I think it was 5 miles and 2,500 feet over 5 miles. Like,
Wow.
so, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's just
Killer.
like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be just one thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. I'm glad that I asked about that too, because from from a pro standpoint, it's going to be a little bit different than somebody who is not a pro, because it sounds like, and from what you've said and others, it's like, okay, the trade-off for going fast and getting a little bit ahead, or being conservative and getting trapped, but then later on being able to kind of move up. It seems like the best strategy is to just be more conservative at the beginning,
Yeah.
and just know that you're going to catch people. You are going to, it's just going to be overall in your best interest to be a little bit more conservative.
Yeah. Well, ultras in general are about energy balance
Yeah.
and like kind of staying in that constant set of energy balance, not getting too greedy and going too high, or, you obviously got to push at some point, but like if you can balance your effort level throughout the entire race to where, you're staying in control, your mind's locked in, you're taking in the right amount of fuel, and you're not getting exhausted, you're not falling asleep on the wheel, like all of these things, I think you'll be in a better place. Because if you go out and you burn your kettle hot for the first 50K, what's going to happen on the second 50K? There's a whole lot of race left. Whereas like, okay, a little bit more conservative start and then you work the course for what it gives you, I think you'll still be in a really good position. And like you want to be able to finish this race. You don't want to, I feel like getting into this race in general is just like a gift of a lifetime. And so, yeah, you want to be smart about how you go about your strategy.
Yeah.
So
I love
yeah,
that.
because the second half of the second 50K, there are portions where they are really steep drops, and I called it Fern Gully. And it was just like you were going through a rainforest, and it was just I was using my poles to give myself leverage to get down because you were stepping through tree roots, and like 2 to 3 foot drops, like
Wow.
long, big steps,
Big
and it was
steps.
all going down.
Wow. Oh man, what a
But
great.
of course,
Yeah.
you watch Jim Walmsley and he's like bombing down it, and I'm like, like, I don't know if you saw the video of him like rolling his ankle last year.
Oh, yes, yes, I did see that.
They like zoomed in on his ankle, and he just like keeps kind of rolling and going. That's on that portion because he did the OCC, I believe,
Well, yeah, yeah,
last year.
yep. He won
So
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Oh, what a perfect way to end. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.